You have a soul blueprint. In other words, there is a sort of energetic map, a map that exists invisibly within your energy, within the essence of your being, that determines when and where you will be guided in this lifetime, on this planet here on Earth. This blueprint was created by you and possibly even with the help of your guides, what we think of as spirit guides, prior to incarnating in this lifetime. However, you woke up in this body with total amnesia of this soul map, of this soul blueprint. We choose to experience amnesia through this life because through the process of forgetting and then remembering, there is immense potential for soul growth and evolution. If we were to remember everything, all that we are, and everything that is going to steer us in life, we wouldn't receive the full benefit that we get from the process of remembering. However, if you found this video, it's very likely you were guided to it. I do not believe in coincidences or accidents. In fact, this very video may be a soul trigger for you, what I'm going to discuss in this video. So, what are soul triggers and how can we use them to better read, access, and understand our soul blueprint in this life? I'm going to get into all of that in just a moment, but first, be sure to like this video and also subscribe to this channel. Here on YouTube, through this space, through this community here, we are gathering together as like-minded, conscious, co-creative beings here on YouTube, building a space to support, uplift, and connect with one another. In fact, many of us here, perhaps even you listening, are part of a greater soul tribe on a higher self level, on a soul level. Many of us who connect here will be drawn together here because, just as I'm going to speak about in this video, we may have known one another before in other lives, times, and places. So, what do I mean by soul triggers? A soul trigger is a moment you are supposed to remember. In fact, very often as a soul trigger is happening to you, you may think those very words. I am supposed to remember this. We process these soul triggers differently on a conscious level, depending on our upbringing and conscious programming in this lifetime. However, signs that seem to be generalized across the collective, signs many people seem to experience when they're having a soul trigger, are often things like feeling suddenly as though the moment feels surreal. There is this strange quality that moment of the soul trigger happening takes on that almost makes it feel as though, for lack of a better word, it isn't quite real life. It has almost a fantasy, a mystical kind of quality to it. This is really difficult to describe in physical words because it defies conscious understanding. It's a feeling you get in your soul when you meet a person, when you visit a new city, let's say, when you pick up a musical instrument, when you go to write something, a moment as though time is almost standing still within that moment, a feeling as though this is important. Every cell in your being will somehow be signaling to you, this is important. Now, a less dramatic sign that you're experiencing a soul trigger is simply that you feel inexplicably drawn to that person thing, or place in a way you can't explain. So now that I've given you a few signs or feelings you might get when you're having a soul trigger moment, let's get into more detail about why you experience these soul triggers, what they really mean. As I said before, a soul trigger is something you are supposed to remember. Prior to incarnating here, like I said, you crafted this soul blueprint for your life. Now, within this soul blueprint, of course, there is much variation that could occur. This is because on Earth we do have free will, and other people have free will as well. We have the ability to create and guide our own life in ways that we consciously determine through this free will. However, we do create, prior to coming here, a general path, so to speak, for how we want our lives to go. Whenever we reach what we could consider a signpost, a guidepost, a marker on this path, we will experience that soul trigger moment of suddenly being told that we are going the right direction, told not in physical words, but by our own self within. This feeling of confirmation within ourselves. Yes, this was supposed to happen. I was supposed to meet this person. I was supposed to start this job. Alternatively, sometimes we experience soul triggers when we veer off or attempt to veer very far off of our soul path, our soul blueprint. Sometimes these triggers can also be like those rumble strips on the side of the highway telling us we are veering out of our designated lane. So at times we will experience something that feels as though it is, for lack of a better word, drastically not right. And that will be kind of an alarm system signaling through our being, telling us we are not making the right decision. We are not on the path we chose to be on. And we will continue to experience those, what we could label as negative soul triggers, until we redirect ourselves back onto our designated path. But most usually, these triggers are experienced most beautifully, most profoundly, when they are positive signs of confirmation. What are some examples of soul triggers? Because so far in this video, we've been speaking on a very higher self, sort of abstract level. If you've stayed with me so far, it means you are remembering, you have some awareness within yourself. Yes, I have experienced something like this. And that is why this material is connecting with you. Soul triggers can quite literally be anything. You know when you are cramming for a test the night before and you are just trying to store this massive amount, this impossible amount of information within your brain all at once, so that while you're taking the test, even if you don't consciously remember every detail, you will remember enough to get a good score on the test. Coming into our physical incarnation here in this life is somewhat the same way. Although we know prior to incarnating here that we are going to experience soul amnesia, just like cramming for this test, we try to drill certain specific details, these soul triggers, into our brain so deeply, so intensely, so repetitively, that when they come up in this life, it's like seeing that question on the test where you don't quite remember all the details while you were studying, but you remember enough to pick the right answer. Now, of course, I'm speaking in very human terms here, very 3D terms, because on a higher self level, there's really no right or wrong choice we can make in this life. We are here to sometimes make mistakes, sometimes make wrong choices in order to learn. When I say right and wrong, I simply mean more or less aligned with your initial intent for this lifetime, your initial pre-created soul blueprint. Very often, we experience soul triggers most profoundly when it comes to relationships. Within relationships, very often we find ourselves pulled unexplainably to certain people in our lives, perhaps even strangers. We may find ourselves pulled across the room feeling like, I need to meet this person. I need to talk to this person. We may meet under circumstances that seem impossible, but really only seem impossible because they are so unlikely by physical human terms, but divinely orchestrated by our higher self. In fact, these meetings aren't orchestrated one-sided. They are very often agreements, what we call soul contracts, between two souls here on earth. We place within our soul blueprint these meetings in order to direct, guide, and assist one another in certain ways throughout our physical lifetime here on earth. So when you're experiencing a soul trigger in connection with a soul contract, what we think of as our soulmates collectively, platonic or romantic, or perhaps even our twin flame, because I know many of you here also are twin flames. These soul triggers, when we meet these people, will often be extremely intense, and the intensity will ramp up according to how deep this soul connection with this person runs and how imperative they are to our soul blueprint here on earth. This is why we very often experience these soul triggers most intensely within a soul connection to a twin flame, because our twin flame is our most ancient and deepest soul connection as a soul. These soul triggers with these people within our soul connections can quite literally be anything. It might be a certain look in their eyes. It could be their laugh, their voice. It might be something that they say. When you experience this soul trigger, this moment of remembering, it will feel as though with this person, I know you from somewhere, or I am supposed to know you. I am supposed to remember you. But these soul triggers aren't limited to soul connections or relationships. They extend into our passions, our hobbies, where we're going to live, perhaps what university or college we choose to go to if we do attend university. They can literally be anything in our life that is going to be significant. We set up soul triggers simply to signal to ourselves on a conscious level, this thing, person, place, event, or choice is somehow very, very important to my overarching life path. So just to give a non-relationship example, let's say you chose on a higher self level to come here and be a musician. When you first hear a song as a little kid, consciously, meaning when your memory begins as a child and you start hearing music over the radio, you may find yourself really, really drawn to this music, just enraptured by it. If you were meant to be a guitarist, you may find yourself pulled to the instrument of a guitar without knowing why, feeling such a passion and enthusiasm for it. This could be a sign that doing these things, having these hobbies, is somehow an essential part of your soul blueprint. Now, the question remains, how do we, as conscious physical beings here experiencing life, how do we read and access our own soul blueprints in spite of our soul's amnesia, our forgetting of this blueprint we created? I find that the more in tune we become with ourselves, meaning the more we tune out the opinions of others, the voices of society and other people, and get back in touch with our inner self, with our soul self, the more easily we find ourselves picking up and identifying and aligning with more and more of these soul triggers, and ultimately finding alignment with our soul's blueprint as well. For me, the most powerful thing I began doing to align with my soul blueprints was establishing a morning meditation practice. This practice became 1,000 times more powerful when I incorporated sound therapy, specifically a 7-chakra energy clearing tool I created at first to help myself and later to help others to clear their energy, to clear out any blocks or negative beliefs picked up throughout this lifetime, stored within any of these 7 energy centers, the 7 chakra centers, that were preventing me from fully tapping into, clearly identifying and aligning with my soul's highest path. Like I said, I started meditating with this on my own, but as I saw results and changes so radically in my life, I made this available to others as well. And now I've actually created over 100 of these sound therapy tools, what I call subliminal affirmations meditation tracks, on my website, soundandsoulful.com. Subliminals are really powerful for deeply reprogramming your energy because they are directed to the unconscious mind, the 95% of our brain that operates entirely on the subconscious level. They are designed to basically rewrite the script of your subconscious, and in doing so, to drastically up-level your energy and assist you in attracting whatever you want to create, manifest, or attract in your life. So as you can see on the screen, on this website, I've created over 100 of these subliminals. I have subliminals for physical appearance changes, for mood shifts like confidence and happiness, for manifesting specific things in your life, for soul connections such as twin flames, and of course, I have my 7 chakra clearing subliminal, the one that has completely transformed my own life, available there as well. And I will leave a link to this 7 chakra clearing in the pinned comment and description box under this video. You can try it out completely free for 7 days by creating a free trial account on my website. I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful, magical rest of your day, and I will talk to you again in the next podcast.